How are you this morning? Good. Well, it's great to be here. One of the things she didn't say in my introduction, just to give you a little bit of a background, is I was a middle school teacher, excuse me, and principal in the state of Oregon for 33 years. And 4 years ago, I decided to retire, and so now I live in Virginia. But my mama was from Arkansas, and so I spent almost every other summer, yay, in Arkansas growing up. So I always feel like the South feels like coming home when I come down to visit, so it's great. How many of you are leaders? Oh, we got problems. How many of you are leaders? Oh, it's getting better. One last shot. How many of you are leaders? I should see every single hand up. It doesn't matter what role you have in your school. We're all responsible for leadership today. There's a story told of a man floating around in a hot air balloon, and he realized he was hopelessly lost. And he sees a woman looking down below, and he goes, hello? You know, it takes her a while to figure out where is this voice coming from. And he goes, excuse me, I need some help. I was supposed to meet a friend an hour ago, and I don't know where I am or where I'm supposed to go. Then she takes a deep breath and looks up at him and says, well, you're in a hot air balloon, about 30 feet off the ground. And you're between 33 and 34 degrees north latitude and between 84 and 85 degrees west longitude. That's Atlanta, by the way. The man looks up and goes, well, you must be a teacher. She goes, well, yes, I am. How did you know? Well, everything you told me was technically correct, but I don't know how to use that information, and I'm still lost. You've been absolutely no help at all. And she looks up at him and says, well, you must be an administrator. And he goes, I am. How do you know? Well, you don't know where you are or where you're going. You've risen to where you are by large quantities of hot air. You made a promise you have no idea of keeping. You expect somebody else to help you solve the problem. And the fact is, you're exactly where you were when we started this conversation, and now you've made it my fault. You know, as teachers and administrators back in the day, there was definitely a split. I remember when I started to become, when I was a teacher, and you know, what the principal said, that was the way it was going to be. And there was no voice, there was no opportunity to express your opinion, to express your thoughts. Today it's different. Leadership is everyone's responsibility. And if you're going to transform your middle schools, so that in the future, you're all going to be able to apply and receive schools to watch status, or Georgia Lighthouse schools in Georgia, then we all have to work together. And we can't, as teachers, go in and close our door and just teach and not pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the school. We can't, as administrators, expect people to blindly follow exactly what we say to do it when we say to do it. One of my favorite books is called A Leader's Legacy. It's actually not about education. But I love this quote, and I just highlighted a couple points in red. Leadership is courage in action. It's going to take courage from every person in this room if you're going to transform your middle schools. If you're going to make them into the kind of places that kids are successful and that everyone's proud of sending their children to and things are going well. You want to be able to say, I was here and I made a difference. When we look at leadership, there's three things that makes effective leadership, and it's a combination of those. It's a combination of your skills, it's a combination of your knowledge, and of your dispositions, your attitudes. And it's only when those three intersect with the right matchup is effective leadership going to happen. You may be very knowledgeable, and you maybe have some good skills, but I'm sorry, if you have a crappy attitude and you're not flexible and you don't like kids and things are, you're just always looking at the negative side, you're not going to make it into an effective leader. You may be the most caring, giving person in the world and love kids dearly, but if you don't have the skills and the knowledge on how to educate them, it's not going to make a difference. So what we're going to do is take a look this morning at some areas of skills and dispositions and knowledge that you'll need in order to effectively transform the middle schools here in Atlanta. You mentioned earlier the Schools to Watch program. That is under the auspices of the National Forum to Accelerate Middle Grades Reform. It talks about schools that we want to be academically excellent. They're responsive to the needs and they're socially equitable. You've probably heard this. You're probably going to see a lot more of it. There's really 3 major documents on middle level education. One of them is the Schools to Watch criteria. Another one is out of the National Middle School Association. Their latest book, This We Believe, Keys to Educating Young Adolescents, gives a lot of characteristics of effective middle schools. They're developmentally responsive, they're challenging, they're empowering, they're equitable. And then the National Association of Secondary School Principals that I work for has Breaking Ranks. Breaking Ranks in the middle. We have a new book coming out that later this month that's a comprehensive framework. It talks about collaborative leadership, curriculum instruction and assessment, and personalizing the school environment. And again, it's only in the intersection of those that you get improved student performance. Those 3 organizations work very closely together. In fact, next Wednesday, we're going to be hosting a briefing on Capitol Hill, all 3 of us working together on middle grades education and the importance of it. So while the language might be a little bit different, we're all saying the same thing. I'm going to talk this morning from the viewpoint of the collaborative leadership, curriculum instruction, assessment, and personalizing your environment. And I'm going to start out with personalization. Among the Maasai people in Africa, they have a greeting, and I'm not even going to try and butcher the pronunciation. But what it means is when one Maasai warrior meets another, they ask a question, and that question is, how are the children? And the response, the traditional answer is, all the children are well. Because it means if their kids are taken care of, if their kids are safe, if they are protected, if they are healthy, all is well with their culture. Wouldn't it be nice if we in America had this? How are our children? Because I know that in the schools that you work in, there are children that are not well. There are children that are facing unspeakable horrors in their life on a daily basis. Yes, you have the kids who will come from a safe, caring, loving environment, but you also have students that come from places that aren't safe, where the parents are not taking care of the kids. And as educators, we have to be able to educate all the children, regardless of those circumstances. So we have to look at what we have control over. In order to personalize the school environment, you've got to know who these kids are. Who are the middle level students, these young adolescents? What do you need to know about them so that you can educate them? So I'm going to just briefly go over some general characteristics of young adolescents. I know my friend Theresa Hinkle's here. She's going to be presenting tomorrow and doing stuff on personalization. And so she'll go into a lot of this in greater detail. But I'd like you to think about particular kids in your school while I go through this. You know, early adolescence is distinct. It's the most rapidly changing time in students' lives, other than the first, birth to 2, that early age that kids go through. They're changing physically, they're changing socially, emotionally, cognitively. You know, all of a sudden one day a kid that's going, I don't get this, I don't get this, I don't get this, all of a sudden the next day they go, oh, I get it, why didn't you say it that way before? And you've been saying it the same way. You know, their brain is making changes. They're developing from that concrete thinker to that abstract thinker, and it makes a difference. During this time, they're becoming the person that they're going to be.